When finally we took control of Tetris in 1995, and we formed the Tetris company, the first thing we did is we standardized Tetris across all platforms. We say to every licensee, says, look, your game has to be better than any other game that's come before, and yet has to contain Tetris. And so as a result, Tetris improves over time. I mean, we treated Tetris like Disney treats Mickey Mouse, you know? So the colors had to be exact, the rotation had to be exact, the timing had to be exact, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And if you look at the old Tetris, Tetris on Game Boy, Tetris on Sega, they were completely different. On the Game Boy, when a piece drops, you can rotate it as it's falling. And that's visual rotation. It actually looks like it's rotating on the spot. If you land the T-piece on its back, then it's stuck. There's no way you can rotate it anymore. On the Sega, if you rotate that T-piece as it's falling, it looks like it's jumping around in a little circle. It's not rotating on a spot. You can drop it, and then you can still rotate it once it's landed. It actually has to jump up to be able to rotate. On the Game Boy, you do all your thinking while the piece is falling, and on the Sega, you drop it, and then you do your thinking. It's just a different way to play the same game. So I came up with a rotation system we call it super rotation. And the way super rotation works is while it's falling, we do visual rotation, which is the Game Boy rotation. Then once the piece has landed and this doesn't work anymore, then it'll try this. And so what we did was we created a rotation system that could accept both players from both systems, because before that they couldn't cross over. They were just too different.
And over time, there's something like called a T-spin, where you can do the same thing with the T-piece, and like if you put the T-piece in the right space and clear lines, then it has the same score as the Tetris, 4 line clears.
And we also had to create the bag system.
So you're not going to get stuck with like 7 Z pieces. That could happen, and then you're really messed up.
In the original Tetris, the pieces are completely random. I remember checking into a hotel. I said, oh yeah, you have something to do with Tetris? Yeah, you know, it's watching me, and it doesn't give me the eyepiece when I need it. And I said, it's completely random. I said, no, it's not. It's definitely, it's watching me. I said, sorry, I know exactly what it's doing. It's random. If you're waiting for the eyepiece, sometimes it doesn't come. The way the bag system works is that you have 7 tetraminos, you put them in a bag, you shuffle them, and then you pay them out. Then you put them back in the bag, shuffle them again. So then if you have an eyepiece come out, the worst situation is that it can be at the beginning of the first bag and at the end of the second bag. So that means, what, 13 pieces later, you're guaranteed to get an eyepiece.
So then you can start strategizing on how you play the game versus everything is up to luck.
It makes it more predictable. And so you could say that Tetris lost something, but because of the variants, we had to do it. In Tetris Worlds, we created 6 different versions of Tetris. I mean, 5 different ones. There's Tetris and then 5 variants. There were a whole bunch of things that we tried. We're here with Mark, with Alexei Paginov, looking at some of the Tetris Worlds games to see what can be done about improving them. Alexei has an opinion about everything. Some of them needed special rotation. You know, one where if you clear a line, the pieces above fall down, and so you can get a cascade going. One of them, you made squares, 4x4 squares. You get extra points if you cleared a line that had part of a square in it. In order to do that, we needed to have a hold piece, because there's no way you can actually get enough pieces of. You would have to wait 2 cycles for that piece to come back. The bag system, it kind of stuck in there. I'm kind of like now we're having second thoughts because we're back to original Tetris. Why need the bag system? You could do a bigger bag, maybe a double bag, in which case you could have or just no bag.